This is the chapter 13.4 mechanical project for a rocker arm. As far as what a rocker arm would be, typically rocker arms are one place would be like a fixed location. Uh, as far as like a hinge, you can kind of think of it as. So if I'm looking at the book, you can maybe think like the bottom portion of the hole in that rocker arm would be the location where it is fixed permanently. It's able to swivel, it's able to rotate, but it's not able to move and spin and change its like X and Y coordinates. The top left and the top right portion, then with respect to the bottom, would rotate around that fixed location. So you'll see rocker arms used a lot in hydraulics, terms of like a backhoe arm, front end loader. You'll see them used in a lot of different applications. But a rocker arm is a very useful tool or part, I should say, in a lot of machinery. As I look at this here, it tells me the book I should use circle, line, offset, trim, and polyline edit. And some of them I'll use, some of them I won't. But the best way to do this, I'll use it the way the book tells me to do it. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't draw it like this normally. And in fact, maybe I won't do it that way. Since the book tells you, it gives you helpful hints of how to place the circles for like the locations that would receive the bolts or the rods for the rocker arm. They tell you to draw temporary lines vertically and horizontally for that. And it's something that you can do, but I'm not going to do that. I'll use temporary tracking points to do it. So where do I start? It looks like most of the measurements are driven by the bottom center hole of the rocker arm. If you look at the book, you'll notice that all the measurements are with respect to the center of that. So because a lot of the measurements are with respect to that center hole at the bottom of my rocker arm, I want to make sure that's the first thing I'm going to draw. So as I look at that, it also tells me the diameter is 1.5, so I'll choose center diameter. I'll place it randomly here, doesn't really matter. I'm going to type 1.5 for the diameter. So there is the bottom hole for my rocker arm. All right, next I'm going to choose the circle diameter again. I'm going to make sure that my object tracking point for center is turned on, which it is. I'm going to just touch the edge of my circle. There's my plus symbol that represents the center. I'll select that. Just kind of, I'm not going to click it. I'm just letting my mouse hover over it. Once it says center, I know that a tracking point has started. I'll then drag my mouse to the right, and now I'm going to hold Control, right click. I'm going to choose temporary track point. And now that I'm to the right, I'm going to physically type 6.5, enter. So you can see that little plus symbol show up. That's the tracking point, 6.5 inches away from the center of that circle. And now I'll move my mouse above that tracking point. And now I'm going to physically type 6, hit enter. And now a circle has started at that exact location where it needs to be placed. The diameter is 1.5. I hit enter, and there is the top right hole for my rocker arm. I'm going to use center diameter again. Go down here to my circle. Let my mouse hover over the center mark. Drag my mouse to the left, and now I'm going to physically right click. Hold Control, right click, choose temporary track point, and I'm going to type 4.25, enter. And then I'll place my mouse above that temporary tracking point and type 4.25 again. Hit enter. There's my circle, and I want the diameter to be 1.5. Right, so there's my bolt pattern or rod pattern, whatever you want to think of it as, for my rocker arm. Now that I have that drawn, I need to draw the outside perimeter of my rocker arm. The best way to do that would to be draw. Once again, remember I said it for project 1. Mostly all the shapes drawn in AutoCAD are drawn with respect to lines and circles. And we can trim, cut, stretch, elongate, whatever I need to do to alter those two shapes to get me any kind of shape I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw using the idea of making sure that they're concentric to one another. I'm going to draw a circle around this one, the top left, draw another circle around the bottom, and then draw another circle around the top right to get me the outside perimeter curve of my rocker arm. In this case, it's with respect to the radius, so I'll choose my command to be center radius. And the top left, the radius of that one is 1.25. The bottom has a radius of 1.5. And the top right is 1.25. All right. Next, I need to draw the lines that go from this circle to that circle. You only want the line to touch in one specific spot. So I'm going to go up to the line command, and I'm going to type tan in the command line, hit enter. Choose this circle. And just like I showed in the other projects, that line now is always going to be tangent to that curve. And before I go to try to click the other circle, I'm going to type tan in the command line again, hit enter, and I'm just going to type or just touch on the edge of the circle, and I'll hit enter to finish the command. And now I know that this line is tangent to this circle, and this line is tangent to that circle. I'm going to open up the line command again. I'm going to type tan in the command line, hit enter, select this circle. I'm going to go back down to the command line, type tan again, hit enter, and select this circle. And now that is my right side of my rocker arm. That's tangent to both circles. The top circle has an arc that kind of curves down and kind of connects to both circles. It touches only this circle, this one spot, touches, somewhere on this circle only in one spot, and has a nice fluid curve here. So it tells me that the radius is 7.25. And I also know from looking at the drawing and given what it says in the book that it should only touch this side and this side on either side there. So I'm going to go to center, go to tan radius. This is the command that I want to use to draw this. And in fact, it tells you that in the book that is what you should use to do this. So tan radius. I'm going to select this as my tangent, select this side as my tangent. And now I want the radius to be 7.25. So basically, it forms a circle here that is tangent to both circles here, and it has a radius of 7.25. Now, to clean it up and make it look like the rocker arm that's supposed to look like in the book, I'm going to trim it now. I'll go down here and I'll type all. Oops, I think I messed up, tucked that outside. I'll redo this here. Trim, go down here, I'm going to type all, hit enter, select everything. And now I'm going to trim away what I don't need. I don't need this outer portion of my circle. I also don't need these inner portions of my circle. And I just made my rocker arm for chapter 13.4.